The House will come to order.
With the threat of a possible COVID-19 crisis coming to Minnesota, the House began the week by passing Senate File 3813 as amended, 133-0 on Monday, approving the transfer of nearly $21 million from the general fund to the state's public health response contingency account. The $21 million in additional funding is expected to cover staffing and laboratory costs, personal protective equipment, and support for local public health and healthcare coalitions, all of which is tied to the state's public health response to COVID-19. Representative Tina Liebling sponsored the companion bill in the House.
We need to put some more funds in right now so that the Department of Health can really ramp up its preparedness and potentially its response.
Governor Walz signed the bill into law on Tuesday. On Wednesday, DFL leaders introduced a package of legislation to get out in front of the potential spread of COVID-19 throughout the state. Included in the package is a proposal to establish a loan program to help healthcare providers prepare and respond to a possible pandemic, and a measure that would expand unemployment insurance and sick leave benefits during the outbreak of a communicable disease. Several of the bills were scheduled for committee hearings, but some of the meetings were canceled as leaders continue to discuss how to manage legislative proceedings going forward. Later in the week, legislative leaders released a joint statement. The four legislative leaders are working closely together and will continue to be in conversation through the weekend about the agenda for this session and how to conduct legislative proceedings in light of COVID-19. No further decisions have been made regarding capital access or legislative activity at this time, and we will provide timely updates if there are any changes. On Thursday, Governor Tim Walz released his supplemental budget request, which was a lean proposal in face of coronavirus uncertainty.
I'm committed to ensuring the state of Minnesota is prepared for whatever comes our way. Minnesotans know preparing for those unexpected things in life is the right thing to do. Having plans in place and resources ready and stocked is the right thing to do. That's why my number one priority of the 2020 supplemental budget proposal is to maintain our state's rainy day accounts, savings accounts, and keeping money on the bottom line. From there, our budget addresses emergency responses and critical preparedness for our state's needs. In putting together the supplemental budget, I took into consideration, as we were already forecasting in November, the potential for economic downturn and uncertainty, now that has been exacerbated by coronavirus and other factors, and being prepared for other potential incidents such as spring flooding.
With a projected $1.5 billion surplus in mind, the governor's proposal calls for $491 million to replenish the state's budget reserve to nearly $2.36 billion and $257 million in new spending. His proposal leaves almost $1.17 billion on the bottom line, money the governor said could be used to respond to the COVID-19 virus. The House ended the week by passing a proposal that would add $30 million in funding to the state's disaster contingency account. Senate File 3564 passed 125-0 and was sent to Governor Walz's desk. Representative Jean Pawlowski sponsors the companion bill in the House. The funding would be used to help areas deal with damage to public infrastructure and response costs when a natural disaster occurs. It also pays the non-federal share of presidential disaster declarations and funds the state share of gubernatorial declarations. For more nonpartisan coverage of the Minnesota House of Representatives, check out our Session Daily coverage on the House website at house.mn/sessiondaily.